Cool. So yeah, here with Dustin from SoVisual, and just having a short conversation about SoVisual and about how Dustin used the AI course with No Code MBA to build out some features for SoVisual. So maybe first, yeah, I'd love to hear Dustin like more about SoVisual and maybe the story behind that a little bit before you kind of started using No Code MBA. And then we can start there.
Yeah, so I guess it starts, back in 2014 when I went out on my own for the first time and was consulting clients in the world of social media and marketing and website design and SEO and all that fun digital marketing stuff. I was a graphic designer by trade. Well, not necessarily by trade. I was a self-taught graphic designer who figured out how to do web design to the extent of I could customize the CSS and WordPress themes.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know code ever, but thanks to the simplicity of WordPress themes, I was able to build websites for customers and eventually myself, right? So and this entrepreneurial sort of spirit in me, I've always been kind of thinking of ways that, like most entrepreneurs, I see a problem and I want to fix it. And I want to fix it by, building it myself somehow. And I ended up co-founding a WordPress plugin company with some friends. Again, I'm not a developer, I'm a designer. So I had two friends who were developers. And so I had the ideas, they had some ideas, and we built a WordPress plugin. They wrote the code. I made sure everything looked good and did all the marketing. Sold my shares in that company. And decided to go out on my own again and build a scrappy startup based on my 10 plus years of working with clients. Now, working with clients as their graphic designer, a lot of times when it comes to social media, they don't have a huge budget. Unless you're an enterprise or you're doing 10 plus million a year in revenue, your social media marketing budget tends to be low, and graphic design labor, if it's good, tends to be a little pricey. And so I wanted to find a way where small business owners, scrappy startup founders, and DIY makers could create social media graphics because it's highly important if you want to gain visibility for your new product, your new business. And I knew the power of it because I was doing it for clients every day. I wanted to create a way for them to make graphics easily that would scale across platforms quickly. And, I was there in the beginning when Canva came around, and I knew Photoshop like the back of my hand. So Canva was cool to me, but I knew Photoshop. And I actually interviewed Melanie, the founder of Canva, early on in their career or in their takeover of the design world. And I loved her vision. Her vision was to really make design accessible to everyone. And I love that vision. Unfortunately, I think something happened in Canva's growth trajectory that distracted, I think, from that end goal. And they have done a great job. They've done a great job of creating a tool that's accessible to people with zero design skills. They can use templates, but it still takes time. It doesn't necessarily make it so that you don't have to be a designer. You still have to go in there and change the sizes and change the colors and move things around. And you have to search through all these templates. And a lot of times these templates are so completely different from one another that it's hard to stay on brand, right? Yeah. For people who know that how important it is to stay on brand. So I wanted to just build an easier way, sort of like the no code version, or, the no design, of no code. So SoVisual came to life because I was like, people don't need to tinker and toggle with a million different switches and options. They just need to put text on a graphic that looks good and have it instantly branded to their style. And that's where SoVisual came from. Now, there's much bigger plans, but suffice to say, doing this yourself, bootstrapped, my vision is very expensive. So I had to build the MVP to help get me there. To build the next level revolutionary design tool. But I think we've done a great job so far. People seem to love it. They love the simplicity. Creating a beautiful social media graphic or ad is as easy as making a meme.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, you've convinced me to use this. I mean, I think I really resonate with like the fact that I think the benefits and shortfalls of Canva really resonate with me. And kind of where I think a more specialized tool like SoVisual can come in, and really provide a lot of value to people who, Canva isn't really the best fit for. It's helping them, but it's not getting them to really where they need to be. So that resonates a lot.
It's helpful, but it's still time consuming. And it's almost like Netflix, right? There's just so many options there that you spend way too much time picking through the options and trying to find the right thing. And for someone who I was also a blogger for a really long time, I made a career by starting out as a blogger and just blogging about social media marketing. And so as a blogger, like, you want to write a piece of content and you need a great open graph image or an image to share on social media to attract people to read it. You just spend an hour, 2 hours, 8 hours on a blog post or on a course, right? On course content. You don't want to spend another 30 to 40 minutes wrangling with some design software just to get one graphic. Right. Which is why, like, one of the intents of SoVisual was to make one graphic and instantly have it create multiple graphics for every size there is.
Yes.
So you get 4 different image sizes that are optimized rather than, Canva and these other tools, their magic resize. It's just they put the same square graphic in different sizes, and then you have to go
right. I've done that. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. And
you're like, oh, magic resize. What does that do? Nothing. I still got to move stuff around. All right.
Right. And
how was SoVisual?
When did SoVisual launch?
I officially launched it. So I had to raise a little bit of money to get the development done because, again, I'm not a developer. I had big ideas. So I came up with an MVP. I contracted out a development company to build the MVP. Had a couple partners come in and help fund it. It took about 6 months to build, and we officially publicly launched it in February of last year. So it's coming up on a year now.
Got it. Cool. And did you design the whole product as the designer and then kind of give that to the developers and say, hey, this is what I want it to look like and how I want it to work and everything?
Yeah, I started in Adobe XD. That was, at the time, that was like my UI design app of choice. But eventually switched over to Figma because it's just much better for prototyping, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I basically would send them the Figma or Adobe XD files and say, this is what it should look like, and then a long list of this is what it should do, and then a bunch of back and forth to make sure that the communication was happening.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm sure having that skill set as a designer gives you a huge advantage, I think, when hiring developers to do this. I think that most people don't have that skill set, so I think if they go out and hire someone, there's so much lost in communication between what's in
there is,
and I'm sure even with the Figma designs and specific directions, it probably a lot got lost.
Because there's a lot of assumptions you make when you're creating a thing that you don't think about the other person not assuming as well. So like, you really have to learn how to over articulate everything, even the unseens.
Yeah, totally. So I guess shifting a little bit to AI and no code, how did you use No Code MBA or just No Code AI in general to kind of add these features to SoVisual? What was kind of the process there?
Yeah, so as a designer who basically just knows HTML and CSS, and I know enough about PHP and JavaScript to copy and paste things and how to undo things when I break them. I've always been frustrated that, like, I can understand how simple a code function is, but I can't spontaneously create it because I just don't know enough. Mm-hmm. And so I've always had to, I've always been limited by my lack of development skill. And I want to build cool things. I want to build them fast and right now, but I've always had that sort of barrier. Like, if I want to build it, I'm going to have to pay somebody else to build it for me. And so I was on a desperate search, as AI tools started to gain traction. And from 2019, I had plans for AI integration into SoVisual before it was even a product, before it was even ready for the public eye. And before AI was even in the public eye, I was planning on building an AI product. And when I saw it happening, it was like this panic mode, like, oh shoot, it's happening. And I didn't get there fast enough. How can I start building this myself and not be sort of restricted by having to hire someone to do it for me? And I don't know how it is I came across Bubble. But I remember I had tried Bubble before and I just didn't get it.
Yeah.
Coming from WordPress, I'm like, WordPress is way easier to use. What is all this stuff in Bubble? And yeah, it was just really confusing for me. But when I discovered it again, and I saw somebody, I think I Googled, how to make a Bubble app. I was just curious, like, is there tutorials out there and how to build how to actually use this thing? And I found, I can't remember what the first tutorial I found was, something just simple and random. And then all of a sudden it occurred to me that there was I think I was searching through the plugins and saw an API connector plugin. And I was like, API connector? Could I integrate APIs into a Bubble app?
Yeah.
And then, so you see the light bulb turn on and the gears start spinning, which eventually led me to just doing a Google search for, how to build an AI app with Bubble. And I think I stumbled on one of your YouTube videos, and I was like, well, so I actually found another YouTube video first. That's right. I found somebody else's YouTube video and I followed it and I managed to do it. I managed to build an OpenAI integration. And it worked. And I was like super pumped. But something about it was just like not exactly right. So I searched for more videos and then I found yours. And I was like, oh, he did a way better job at this. I like his style a little bit better. It was a little more clean implementation. And I was able to follow it much easier. His tutorial was like 45 minutes long and yours was like 20. I'm like, that's efficiency right there.
Awesome.
I appreciate efficiency.
I appreciate that. Cool. So, and then you went to No Code MBA and got the membership to get all the AI content from there.
Oh yeah, it was no brainer. I was like, I will pay for this. It's a much smaller, payment than having to pay my developers.
Right. No, yeah, that's awesome. And I think kind of like you, when I started realizing I could connect APIs to Bubble, and it's like with other no code tools, you can build things, but it's a little more siloed. It's not as easy to integrate other APIs like that. So once I learned that with Bubble and started connecting other APIs, it really unlocks, almost it like 10x is what you're able to build and the power that you're able to bring in your app. And it's really cool. And I think also once you kind of learn how to use one API. So like even with the OpenAI API, API is actually kind of similar, which I didn't quite realize until I started learning them, where like, oh, now I can do, other AI models, and it's a little different. You have to figure out the intricacies of each API.
Yeah, they all have nuances.
But yeah. And
and that's what I appreciated about your course is you actually went through the way that you went through different ways to implement different approaches to each API connection. That's what allowed me to really unlock how I understood how these things work. If you were to just have done it one way and done like one type of AI API integration, it wouldn't have unlocked fully for me. And I would have been locked in. But because you did such a great job of exploring the different methodologies, it just started clicking for me like crazy. I haven't been able to sleep for like the last 3 weeks. I'm like, oh, things I could build. And awesome. Here we are, November, it was the day before Thanksgiving. I built my first text generator integration. And here we are now, almost the end of January, not 3 full months later. I've got 6 different AI tools, really 8, because 2 of them are hidden, and I haven't put them into the product yet. But I can't stop now.
Yeah,
it's addicting.
It is. And so which AI models are you implementing into SoVisual right now, and like what can people use them for in terms of their designs, or how is that gonna help them use SoVisual?
Yeah, so I'm currently integrating OpenAI. Both their GPT-3. I think I'm using their latest DaVinci model. I think it's 003 DaVinci. Yeah. So for text generation. So first and foremost, people use SoVisual because they want to generate social media content. And it's highly important to have a consistent and visual, eye-catching social media presence, but they don't always know what to write. Like, what do I put on the beautiful quote graphic, or So I built a text generator, so you can simply type anything in there. You tell it what kind of thing you want it to write, and it will write it for you. It's a simple copy and paste. Drop it right into the form field for the graphic. That's number one. The other tools are all image based at the moment. So I have just the standard DALL-E integration, so you can create images with DALL-E 2. And generate whatever kind of artwork you want. Currently working on a way to assist in adding some stylistic choices. So right now it's just basic text prompt to image, but I want to add in some functionality to help, because we all know that creating AI art is an art in itself, and crafting the prompt. So I'm working on some ways to sort of assist that, so you don't have to think of 57 different descriptive words to get exactly what you want. We'll add those in for you just based on your style choices.
Yeah.
The other one I've incorporated is from a company called Clipdrop. Clipdrop has a number of AI-powered tools that are accessible through API. One is a background remover. It's the most effective and efficient background remover I've found, period.
Cool.
So some of our templates are conducive to putting like a product photo, and sometimes you want to remove the background from that product. Well, we have that integration built right in where you can drop your photo in, it removes the background, and then drop it right into the graphic. The other one that's really cool that they also have is background replacer. So you can upload your photo that has a background, and you can type in a prompt of what you want to replace the background with, and it will generate the background. And this thing is so good. Like, it's scary. It will. I mean, the first thing I did was an armchair shaped like an avocado.
Right.
And DALL-E 2 created a beautiful one for me. And then I pulled it into the background replacer, because DALL-E put a white background on it as if it was a product shot. I was like, no, I want this in a hotel lobby. And so I did, and it was amazing. Like the angle that the photo seemed like it was taken out looked like it was on the floor, so it understood the sort of 3D positioning, and it was brilliant.
Which API is that? ClipJoin, you said?
It's called Clipdrop.
Clipdrop. Okay, cool.
Yeah, clipdrop.co, I believe, is their website.
Yeah.
They also have an image upscaler, which I incorporated because we all know that one of the problems with AI generated art is they are limited to usually 512 to like 1024 pixels.
Right.
They're usually, unless you use something like Midjourney, which allows you to get bigger and upscale images. But with DALL-E, it's like a maximum of 1024, I believe.
Yep.
And so if you have something that you want to display at high resolution, you need an upscaler, and their image upscaler will increase it up to 4 times the resolution. So or if you have like a pixelated image that was kind of small, you got from like a thumbnail or something, it was the best you can get at the time, this image upscaler is great for that. And then the last thing I built was really just for me, because and also all the the designers out there who are kind of on trend. I don't know if you notice this, but like gradients are in again, like mesh gradients, multicolored, swirly, fuzzy gradients. So I wanted to build a gradient generator. with AI, and I managed to architect a prompt on the back end so that on the front end, all you have to do is type in the colors you want and then hit generate, and it generates a beautiful, every single time, a beautiful mesh gradient graphic with your given colors.
That is awesome. And that's something that I haven't seen anyone else create with AI out there. So that's very cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. I feel like it's cool to like visual, like think through all the different ways that you can implement these AI models into, you know, this app that was already providing value, and then you add AI on top of it. And I feel like that's where AI can be really valuable, when you have you can put it in the context or workflows for people, and then give them almost like a superpower on top of it.
That's what really like got me going is, you know, there are all these AI tools out there, and most of them are okay. Some of them are really great, and I have friends who are building AI apps as well. But in a lot of cases, that the creative tools are in like different places, and so you're in one tab and you're in this other tab. You're using all these things. You some have to like bring them together, and so for the creatives who are creating social content, I wanted it all in one place for them. And you know, especially AI creators, I think you know, we're going to see a huge resurgence in people who didn't realize that they could be artists with their words and turn those words into beautiful artwork.
Right.
And I think especially for the AI artists out there, having that tool where they can, in the same spot, they can generate a beautiful image and put it onto a graphic that automatically adds their username, their watermark, their logo, their info, without any other tinkering and toggling, and then instantly be able to put it on any platform because it's automatically resized for them.
Right, totally. And then a tactical question, and I know we DM'd about this a little bit, but in terms of you know, so you have your original app, which is built with code, and then you've, you know, built these AI tools with no code. How did you make it work so that it, you know, all worked on the same platform from like just like a technical perspective there?
So I had to do a lot of research on the secure way to do it, but essentially it's very similar to how like a Help Scout or a intercom, you know, like a live chat software integrates into a website. You know, the website has a specific code that allows an iframe to be pulled in, and that way, you know, it's all in the same window, even though it might be in different locations. So yeah, kind of a straightforward live chat type of interface that creates a widget on the page.
Right.
And that widget expands open so you can work inside the AI tools, and then you can collapse it and then bring everything into the SoVisual app.
Got it. Cool. Yeah, I've gone down that rabbit hole of figuring out the secure way to do that in Bubble as well before, which I don't remember fully, but I know there were different things with embedding where you run some security risks, but yeah, no, it's cool that you thought of that as well. I can tell you have a very good attention to detail with everything that you do with the business. So that's definitely cool.
Yeah, I would say I'm plagued with attention to detail.
I guess
a gift and my curse.
Right. It's everyone's strength is their weakness also.
Exactly. Yeah.
And how are you growing SoVisual? Like what's next, I guess, in what are your future plans?
So right now it's just growing organically. So it's still small enough to where I have to take on clients on the side. It's still mostly a side hustle that I spend a lot of time on.
Yeah.
Because my bread and butter is consulting with clients and building marketing campaigns for other clients. And so it's a struggle to not have the shoemaker's children problem where shoemaker's kids have no shoes. So it's, you know, hard to find time to market my own business, but at the moment we're planning on launching on Product Hunt after almost a year.
Yeah.
Just haven't gotten around to it yet. And, you know, using my personal marketing channels, I've developed a bit of I don't know if you'd say successful, but an effective personal brand. Got an email list of, 30 some odd thousand email subscribers.
That's awesome.
My personal blog still gets upwards of 30,000 visitors a month, and I have some lead magnets that convert really well. So I'm really leveraging the personal brand that I've built.
Right.
And the personal brand that I've built was built because of consistent social media content and consistent blog post content, which is heavily powered by images. So I'm eating my own dog food in a sense and using SoVisual daily to create content. And that seems to be working good so far. So I'm going to keep on doing that and hopefully amp it up over the next 3 to 6 months, because I have some very aggressive plans for growth. But yeah, just got to plug away. Just got to keep plugging away, one foot in front of the other.
Any other questions or anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, just thank you for the work that you're doing. It's really helpful, opened up a ton of possibilities. Do you have anything on like payment gateways or creating subscription membership things with Bubble?
Yes. So in the Bubble tutorial, like the main complete guide to Bubble tutorial on No Code MBA, there is a section on setting up subscriptions. I am planning in the next month to build that out further, to add in more information about that, specifically about how to use the Stripe API to make your own API calls. Because the Stripe plugin is nice and it makes it easy, but I think there are cases where it's really helpful to know how to use the Stripe API to just control it a little bit more and have more flexibility. So the answer is yes. There is already some content there around it, but I'm gonna be adding more. Yeah. All right. Well.
All right, Seth.
Yeah, this is great. Great to meet you.
Yeah. Let me know when you publish it, and I will do what I can to help amplify. I think what you're doing is great.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. I will. Yeah. Hopefully by like the end of next week, I'll have something ready to publish.
Cool. Sounds good.
All right. Have a good one. Thanks.
All right. You too.
Bye.